Man, yep, I already finished. Yep, what's your size? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the size you wear? Okay, I got you. No, I'm in right now I'm in Flint. I'm gonna have to when I check the storage, I'll send it to you. That cool? Yeah, yeah, I'll send it to you. But I'm in Flint. I'm gonna be here for until the end of the month. Yep, yep. I had a speaking at the do a rider yesterday. Then I gotta go to Cleary later on today. It's snowing though, so I probably just catch an Uber. But everything good. Yeah, I'm live now. Yeah. No, I don't really be. I don't have no one with me to record a lot of stuff. So yeah, but it's all good. Yep, yep, yep. Everything good. Yep, everything good. Give me a second, everybody. I'm on the phone. Give me 1 second. But yeah, yeah. Hold on. You always doing nasty stuff for likes. Yep. Yeah, that's my number. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Right. 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 Okay. Right. All right. Sorry about that. Had to take that call. Very important. But peace, man. Peace, peace, peace to everybody. I just wanted to jump on here. I'm back in my city, doing some little work. I'll be speaking later at Cleary University in Howell, Michigan. My alma mater. That's where I got my bachelor's degree in business management with a minor in marketing and sales, a nonprofit business startup. And then when I be back in Arizona, I go to GCU and I lecture. But that's my alma mater. That's where I got my dual master's degree in first century history and religion and linguistics. But man, let me tell y'all something about our people. With all due respect, I love my people so much. That's why I get on here and be just like a Pied Piper. Because the things that I talk about with all these academia, college students, I come back and I share it. But the thing that I've seen, man, and I don't know if this every city, I ain't been to every city where our people reside. But I've done my research. I've done my research, and I've been a lot of places where our people reside. And let me tell you something that I know. From a brother from the city of Flint, Michigan, moving down to Arizona, which is a red state, I had no problem doing nothing, building my own practice, working with youth, autistic, ADHD. I worked for a plethora of companies. I worked for a place called Youth Development Institution, where it was a live-in facility with kids from all type of backgrounds. I worked for another place, Ohana. I worked for all the other places where I went to kids' homes, mentored them, did this stuff. A lot of these parents, man, because they know that field, it's, it's like a revolving door, because a lot of the people don't get paid good. But make a long story short, a lot of the parents that I connected with y'all, because I used to go to all the seminars, all the meetings. They're like, you got to do your own. They're like, yeah, they charging our insurance, but I'm dealing with people that don't mind. And I have a nonprofit organization. This is part of my ministry. And so that's what my facilities is going to be, not just speaking the word, but helping children, skilled trades, computers, all that in one house. All that in one house. Auto mechanics, scouting, showing the kids how to scout, what wood is good to burn, how to survive, how to turn river water into actual drinking water, teaching life skills, teaching the children how to balance, money, all these things at a young age. But the thing that I saw, y'all, our people don't take advantage of the people that can help the youth and help what's going on, using people as an ally. And I saw that when I went to the school yesterday. The adults don't know, the kids really not gonna know unless their interest just took them there. But it's just amazing to see that. It's just amazing to see all ladies volunteering and all them young boys, single moms, all the kids, And I just remember back in the day when the Panthers had the lunch program. And I just see things that we don't reach out. Like, we be so worried about the other man, and we can have our institutions, man. There's so much stuff going on that we have no idea if that's your mission. If that's your mission to do real work, it can be done. Because if all of us have children, and there's people on here that have children, if your kids don't go to public school, you say you got to send them to private school to get a good education. And I say, why? And I say, why? Why do we have to send our kids to private schools to get a good education? I know the excuse. I know the excuse. But if that's the case, that means some of these things that should be common is not common in our community. Like I said, not taking the kids from their public education, what they're doing, but adding value to, like a 7th hour. Something when they get out of school, they can come to the center and have all these different forms of mentorship, all these different forms of crafts, see men there, things going on, an infrastructure, a real infrastructure, a real think tank, a real library. I'm telling y'all, I see this stuff happening in other communities. I see it happening. Like, it's bookstores and things in the city and all that, don't get me wrong. It's a couple urban bookstores. But we don't have a library. We don't have an institution where it's not only a library, a coffee shop and all that, but this is where we come and build. This is where we get the word. Because we all are spiritual. And these are all tools in the toolbox. So if we all spiritual and we all a people, it has to be something that we agree to. It has to be. It has to be, brothers and sisters. It has to be. And it has to be based on principle and understanding. Because religion and all that stuff been here forever. Look what it's done to a people. Look what it's done to a people. I know families don't deal with each other because this person might be this person might be that, this person might be this. Religion, and they won't even deal with each other. Or they might have took an oath, or whatever it may be. But when it comes to a group of people, I always tell my brothers and sisters, man, I love everyone. But at the same time, I speak not just individuals, because we can pick individuals that don't participate in these things and work from within, but I always talk about things as a whole. So as a whole, as a people, we have to base our understanding on things that can be proven, not how we feel, not a belief system, not what someone's telling you what their religion is, because once again, that's not what I'm here for. I tell everybody, I'm Tasawwuf, I'm Sufi. I don't operate with nothing outside of myself. Anything outside of myself is true shirk. I operate under the triple rose. And so when I come for a message to my brothers and sisters in our communities, I said, there's no solidarity. Especially when you have people of different fraternities and this and that, and they may be Masons, or they may be Christians, or they may be Nation of Islam Muslims, or some may be Sunni Muslims. But they may all live in a community. And all those groups that I just spoke on would do things in their splinter groups. But all these people, these groups, will live in one community. A lot of the kids know each other. So what I'm saying is about community work and building an infrastructure and having something, because all communities have something. Like when I go back to Arizona, I'm gonna show you my Muslim brothers, they built their mosque right around the corner from my house. They accept me because I deal with the Sufi and I operate in peace. So I have a clear understanding. I have a lot of brothers that's Muslim in Arizona. I have a lot of my India homeboys in Arizona where I go to the store and get my teas. They have their Messiah in the flesh. So I'll talk about community and bringing something back to a people, and all people have communities. And so when you come from a community, I'll just speak of I don't want to say it in this type of word, but urban community. And today, they may call it a community like the Hardest Hit Fund, and you will see it in that community. Most of the politicians and everything is melanated. And so when people make excuses and they say, well, this and that, and that married it, and this and that and other, And then I say, okay, if you live in a community, and if you're not dealing with local and state, when these people get in office, how can you complain? Because when you look at the numbers and things and the people that's in the area that's registered to vote, a lot of times people don't understand law and policy and how to hold these people accountable. They don't go to the council meetings, and if you do go to the council meetings, it's nothing but a SHIT show. With all due respect. And so these are the things that I always speak about when I see the community and when I see what's going on not only in the community, but with the children, you know, with the kids and with just a part that's missing. Because all the kids getting the basics, the 1, 2, 3, the ABC, they're getting all of that. But it's a part missing. What I'm saying, when these kids during Black History, all they're gonna talk about is slavery. Every single one. Or some basketball player, but most of it is talk about when slaves did this, Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King. That's it. You know, and so yesterday I was showing a lot of books I gathered and compiled, showing scientists and history and showing philosophers and writers or authors in history, but also showing other books that show history really didn't go how we thought it went. It's a book called The One World Tartarians, and the book is not expensive. I converted a lot of them to ebooks. I told you, y'all can get this stuff from me for pennies. And I always tell people you should read that and investigate it. It's a brilliant book. It's a good historical book. And it's not an eye-opener because most scholars and things in academia, these books be on a college campus. They just be collecting dust. They just be collecting dust. You know? Everything I speak on, you know, a lot of ancient books, they be in a doctoral library. Or if you're a real educator in academia, you can connect to different libraries like I did. How I hooked up with Oxford and Cambridge. I hooked up with another Gnostic library. I hooked up with some other people, and they really helped me on my academic journey when I was getting my dual master's degree from GCU. And then I tell everybody I'm transparent. I'm part of the Philosophical Research Society. I'm proud to be a part of that. That opened a whole nother chamber to my understanding. A whole nother chamber. So all I talk about is blueprints and things that can be done. And I don't really like people to get us caught up in spookism. And then that stop us from nation building. That stop us from doing things that we know we can do. And we don't let a small fraction be the representation of something good because they fell off the tracks. We push that to the side. And so the things that I'll be talking about is a lot of stuff we don't know. A lot of brothers are not involved. What, in your communities and things, you have to be involved. How you think the Prophet had the Declaration Proclamation and the mayor signed it in 1985 in Atlanta, and then in 2012? Like, and all this stuff is chartered. You can get you can go to the county clerk recorder of deeds, and I show y'all, and it tells you what that 1099 really means. How people be lying to you. Everything is public information. So what I'm telling us is we have to get involved the right way. This is what I'm saying. You have to get involved the right way because everybody else doing it and we sitting back watching. The blueprint is there. That means all we have to do is just do what we know we can do. Nothing is hard, but we're supposed to know. You're supposed to be able to walk out the house unison together based on what? Understanding, principle. Why? Because you have something to compare to. And then we can move forward as a people. One nationality, many cultures. I always tell people, no one is here to strip your culture. But today, as a people, we have to come to a clear understanding. No matter what your belief system is, we should have a clear understanding. And when you understand, it's nothing else that needs to be done. And so these are the things that I was talking to, like a lot of the parents, they didn't know what the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15 is. No one knew. And you don't blame no one for the lack of not knowing. We don't blame no one because they don't know. And we're talking about adults. Because when they talk about reparations, that's the first thing that come up. And I say, I'm down with reparations. But when I talk about the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, no, they never heard of this. They never heard of this. And I say, well, if you never heard of this, where are you basing your statements or your feelings on things that you think has to change and nothing needs to be changed? You must defend certain things from understanding. So if the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, clearly states that you have a right of a nationality and a right to change it, no one will be arbitrarily denied of a nationality and a right to change it, and to claim a child replaces the birth certificate. Then what? Then tell me. I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not making this stuff up, y'all. So if you have a clear understanding of language and ethnicity and declaring to have due process, which is your human right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, if you have a clear understanding on certain things that's precedent, there's no reason to argue with no one. And I just gave a small tittle. No one should be arguing. No one with I got a degree in African American studies. Great. But if we are people, and if we teaching our children, if we could give them something to compare and contrast to. When I say everybody read the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, and then everybody will look it up and they'll read it. And then you will read it, and what does it say? What does it say? The Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15. You have a right of a nationality and a right to change it. I got you, bro. No one would be arbitrary. Do we know what arbitrary means? No one can say, well, yes, no, you're not. You're not this or this, none, the other. You're supposed to know. When I talk about your religious rights, you're supposed to know this stuff is precedent. It's no disrespect to no one. The House Joint Resolution 75, when it clearly states you got the right to annex your L and your Bay, XYZ. You know, the religious right of the indigenous people. You have the right not to assimilate. You have the right to have your teachers. You have the right to do things in peaceful protest, XYZ. You have the right to wear your native culture, XYZ. I mean, come on, man. And it's much, much more. Just like when I deal with Charles Wiseman, I heard those brothers, and I said, man, everything is good when you defending a case. So when I talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, things that these students study at Harvard and Oxford, I said, man, listen, I said, you need to see that, because when you research that, you will have to come back and correct yourself if you're sincere. Then you will be proven sincerely wrong, because you can't arbitrarily explain the law in a court of law. You can't go in there playing. I'm telling you, you can't go in there playing. And there ain't no reason to be going there if you're operating how you're supposed to be. And so these are the things that I'm telling brothers and sisters. I said, okay, when you look at ethnicity, on Jeopardy, it was a question when they said, what is the law that Negroes would never have the rights as, the misnomer white man, boom, boom, boom. The lady answered, Dred Scott. Dred Scott law was never abolished. Then I tell people to research the white man's constitution. This was in Wilmington. I think this was in South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. It was called the white man's constitution. Research that. Research what they did. And so when I talk about history and when people talk about reparations, and it always go to that subject. Well, are you down with reparations? I say, I'm down with reparations just like anyone is. But I'm gonna tell you like this. And I said, I don't know why you get all snot in your nose and get upset. When I come from these things, you can look it up. We don't have to have no big discussion about this, because I already told you I was down with reparations. But what I'm clearly telling you is no Negro, black, or colored, or African American that's synonymous to slave gonna get no damn reparations. The only person that's gonna get anything paid out for the slave is the body, the individuals that created the slave. This is a fact. This is without a doubt. This is without a shadow of a doubt. You can get any so-called lawyer, he gonna win anyway, but he gonna know it's not gonna happen, that it's gonna be proven wrong when you operate like that. Negroes get no reparations. It's just flat out, and everybody know that's true. If not, then something have to be wrong with that mental. With all due respect, black is beautiful, brown, white, orange, purple, green, And then later, I'm gonna show y'all how people play semantics with words. And that's why I said we have to really sit down and learn and compare and contrast and come to a place of understanding and agreement. Because we owe it to the babies. We all owe that to each other, man. We've been split down our back. We've been split down our back. With what? With mostly religious dogmatic perspectives. With all these outside organizations, and the other man that's part of the outside organizations, like my Scottish Rite brothers, they'll tell you that they sons of Muslims. And everybody know it. You see all the writing on their face. All the writing on their face representing what? The East. And they under the what? Osiris mysteries. They'll tell you this. And I tell you this. So I say, if somebody's telling you right and someone telling you wrong, with all due respect, on these levels. And so that's what I teach the young kids. And they be amazed, because we're talking about something that interests them. Who? Them. You have to see yourself in history and spirituality. What's wrong with that? We don't have to diss anyone. We can come from scholarship and say, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? A person may not like it per se, but that's okay. But you can't deny the facts. You can't deny the fact. That's like if you was going into courts. They'll say, well, prove your case. And you come with all the facts, you rest your case, and it's no rebuttal. Why? Because you laid it out so smooth. Bam, 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 bam. It can be no rebuttal. You know? And so we have to deal with the facts of the matter, no matter how anyone feel, you know? No matter how someone would be saying, well, I don't think, or I believe. See? And that's where we lose. As soon as we get to saying what we think and how we feel, and not dealing with the facts, dealing with things that we can prove, doing the research, we lost it. Because we'll go right back to the religious perspective that keeps us separate. You know, the Sunni Muslims don't, you know, you got the Nation of Islam, you got Moorish brothers that, some that's off the rockers, you got the so-called Hebrew Israelites, you got the Christian brothers, you got the brothers to Egypt, you got all, and I'm saying all brothers. All brothers. All brothers. And I say tools in the toolbox. And that's why I talk about solidarity. And I'm like, man, come on, we got to do better than this. If we a people. Because if you never heard of the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, that tells you have a right of a nationality and a right to change it. And to claim a child replaces the birth certificate. And no one will be arbitrarily denied of a nationality and a right to change your nationality. A light bulb should start twitching. I'd be like, tell me more. You know? Tell me more. Because remember, we're talking about understanding. Remember, we're talking about tools in the toolbox. And see, when people don't bring the tools back to the community, you get caught up in Crips and Bloods. You don't get caught up in its growth and development. You don't get caught up with this community building. You miss the whole brotherhood. The aspect where it turns into something way bigger. This is what the youth need to see. When I talk about community, this is what the people need to see. This is what the children need to hear. What? Exactly who they are. And say, okay, we are a lot of people. Yes. Yes. We could come together. Absolutely. Why? Because we have an understanding. If we operate on principles, the craft or the tool that you're using, it's all tools in the toolbox. If you're listening to me, these are all beautiful tools in the toolbox. Look at all the great men we talk about in the past. That's martyrs, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. No matter what you think about them, those were good men. Even the writers, Sheikh Anta Diop, Ivan Van Sertima. Those are great men. We've had great women as well. So what I'm saying is, we have to get out of that. We have to get back into the things we know. We have to get back to reaching to our youth instead of letting others grab them at a young age. They have a thing at this young age when the kids don't have mentors. If they get in trouble, they call the police. In the 4th grade, they fingerprint them. So now, if they get caught doing anything later, they're already in the system. They'll say they'll trouble you to get them in the system. But see, these things I call how we can counter-react certain things. How? Because if we know these things, we get a hand on our youth and have them, and have our centers and be able to mentor them and be able to be active and do these things and have them using both sides of their brain. Those are the gifts. Even working with kids with different type of mental backgrounds, autistic, ADHD. That's my background. And so when I was lecturing at the school yesterday, I met a lot of ladies and it's a good thing that they be open. A lot of them, she wouldn't mind me telling her story. I'm not going to say her name. Husband is locked up, kid, act out and stuff. But she said he'd go to church, but church don't have no mentors, nothing. It's all old, X, Y, Z. And we speaking, and she was like, well, how do you do this, that, and the other? And I said, it's just something that I've been doing. I have a gift. I worked in the field. And so these are the connections that I knew I was going to make when I come home. I'm like, listen, when you have children like that, you got to do everything it takes for their therapy. And if you got someone like me that's a contractor that can do his thing and come to the city and have clients and deal with them, just like anywhere else you have those therapists and work with them, it changed the game. Because one, I look just like them. One, I look just like them. One, I'm honest. One, I know what I'm doing. Two, I'm an ally. Three, I'm always on time. I'm always dependable. And it's just how you work and your approach. You know? It's just your approach, and a person will have to see it. I've worked with kids that was nonverbal and they're verbal. It's just different approaches and different type of skills. Sometimes I take them on the basketball court. Sometimes we ride bikes. Sometimes we just play the game until they get open and start asking me questions. And then it goes from there. Sometimes it just be me untying my shoe because I see them, their shoe not tied. Then I'll just start tying my shoe. Then I'll untie it. Then I tie my shoe. Then he started trying to do it with me. Boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, he tying his shoes. Mom was like, how you tie your shoes? I said, I just tried to get something that wasn't embarrassing. It ain't no biggie. You know? But these are the things that need to be done when I see these in different communities and different organizations. I say, oh man, we putting all our trust in, say our kids polar bears, we putting all our trust in a koala bear. You know what I'm saying? They looking at your kid, he may be a little bit active, maybe it's a reason why he has this extra energy. XYZ. When I talk about counseling, when I talk about understanding, maybe the things that he's been fed in the morning cause those type of reactions for the brain to give off a certain dopamine, and what? You got to burn that off. It's almost like eating a candy bar early in the morning and drinking a Mountain Dew. When you get the kids a Pop-Tart, some cereal, a Juicy Juice, and some milk, they on 10. They on 10. I'm telling you. And when I worked in a facility, that's all they gave them kids all night. Their stomachs got big as heck. I'm telling you what I know. And so when you have these kids with these special abilities from the Creator, there's certain foods that you should not be feeding them. I'm telling you. And you don't be knowing why certain things, because the diet is not going a certain way. You definitely shouldn't be giving them genetically modified organisms like ketchup, all that stuff. Those are no-nos. Those are no-nos with all those preservatives in it. I always try to look for natural things, but a lot of those things are no-nos. I'm telling you. And so these are open conversations and panels that I discuss with the parents. They be like, yes. And I'm like, you can look at the background. And in Arizona, most of my clients didn't even look like me. I had to deal with, different nationalities. But children are children. And understanding is understanding. And if you have a gift, no matter where you go, you be who you are. That's what I'm saying. And so once again, us as a people, I always say, hey man, I'm down with reparations too. But we should have a clear conversation and a clear panel to disperse all this stuff. Because I just told you, you have a right. I told you on paper, we Moors. No matter how a person feel about it, I understand that. You don't have to gravitate to that. But as an understanding today, as a people, you can look at things that's ancient and modern and don't have to come from a perspective of hate. You can look at things. Because if you say you down with reparations, and then I say, okay, well, me too. And then I say, okay, well, what's the process? And you say, well, we black people. We African American, we Negro, we gonna put all this money together for Black Lives Matter. And I'm like, oh, y'all done messed up. Why? Because black is an adjective. Because black is an adjective. Look in the 1599 Geneva Bible. It says like, can a leopard change his spots just like a blackamoor can't change his color per se. So when you see Swarthmore Tawny Moore, Brunette Moore. You go to Europe, you see Swarty Pyatt, AKA Black Pete. You see, this is all over the world. Even the icons, even the Russian icons, when they show the pictures, I'm not saying this or that, but I'm speaking on all different parts of the globe. When people say black per se, I said, no, that's not what I'm saying. Because I can show you in all parts of the world, they didn't say they were black per se. I'm going to show you. And people know about Morisco and Moreno and Negrito, you know? And the difference from Arab and Arap. With all due respect, when I teach this to the kids, you get a clear understanding. I say, hey, with all due respect, but when we deal with history and truth, you see how Arap is spelled, A-R-A-P, and it shows you what the ancient Arap is. In Vladimir Dale's Ancient Dictionary of Russian, it shows you exactly what the A-R-A-P consists of. And Bertrand Thomas, his book, The Arab, he stayed with the ancient Arabs. In his book, he tell you exactly who the Arab is. So I'm not here to argue with anyone. What I'm here to do is show my brothers and sisters, be like, wait a minute, man. You are all over the globe. Europe, Africa. David McRitchie even tell you about it in his 2 volumes, The Ancient and Modern Britons, Volume 1 and Volume 2. So when I speak of things, I'm not here to cause confusion. I'm telling you, I show my brothers and sisters, wait a minute now. Don't let no one put you in some box and put you in a certain geographical area when we can open a Pandora box and I can show you, baby, you was all over this baby. With all due respect. And not just in. With all due respect. And these is facts. This is historical. This is scholarship. I mean, on boats going from this area to this area. With all due respect. And so the kids get to see this at a young age. It changed their whole paradigm. When the kids get to see this scholarship and see all this historical truths, it changed the paradigm. When they see other historical things, when people be talking about this from a hateful place, and I start showing them real documents that counter what someone is telling them. And then you can take that back. That's peer-reviewed scholarly research because it's undeniable. And that's when we build our people up. I'm telling you, right now, doing so-called Black history, I'm surprised they're not playing a fake Roots movie. And these are things that's been promulgated to our babies over and over. I mean, I seen older people say Kunta Kinte was their ancestors. This is the Negro-centric and the Eurocentric propaganda I'll be talking about. I said, and this is what kids be regurgitated in their brain, in their hippocampus, in their memory banks. And they always talk about some roots. They even made series of it to jam that down the misnomer black man throat. And I tell everybody that whole thing is fake. Alex Haley plagiarized that whole dang thing from a European named Harold Colander. His book, The African, made it all up, and he got sued. This is what I be saying when I be looking at my brothers and sisters. I be like, man, come on, man. I said, how can you say you use scholarship? How can you say you promote something that's right and you come with that hogwash? And even my European colleagues be like, well, see, we don't have to do nothing. And, you know, we laugh. And I say, but I understand what you're saying. It's like our own people will promulgate some nonsense. It's all fake. And then you have people make videos saying that some Kunta Kinte was their ancestors. Look how asinine that is. And it's all fake, family. And it comes from a book named The African by Harold Colander. And then, with all due respect, when I asked the kids about Willie Lynch, they know about that. When I said, do y'all think that's real? Yeah. I said, Willie Lynch is another one of the fakest fakes you can find in the world. Ain't no Willie Lynch letter. What you mean, Sheik? It's no Willie Lynch letter. If it was a Willie Lynch letter family, it would be in the Library of Congress. It was made up. And I lectured on it at GCU, told them where it came from, see why they let the Negroes have that. It's all made up. It's all made up. This is a fact. And I lectured this fact on campus. With all due respect. Because most people heard of that, what, in '95 at the Million Man March. I love Farrakhan, but, wisdom. But, come on, man. I know why people use things to do things to people. I said, ain't no Willie Lynch letter. That's counterproductive of what, if you're going to say with the Willie Lynch, of what Willie Lynch doing. Willie Lynch ain't going to kill his property, his chattel. It wasn't nobody lynched back then. Black wasn't even used to describe ethnicity back then. Nobody back then in that time wrote about no lynch. No so-called slave owners, Frederick Douglass, no people in those times wrote about no damn Willie Lynch. And then how words are spelled. I told y'all at the time how words are spelled for the demographics where you are. It don't line up when you trying to put things in modern English. With all due respect. And so these are the things that our youth need to learn. That goes with their history. That goes with their upbringing. They need to learn finances and all that stuff. You need to learn a lot of other things. Computer programming and learning how to use your brain, how to make a sound decision. All those things. How to eat right, how to garden. All those things our young men need to learn. How to make sure our empresses is operate in the right way. Making sure they're good. Because that's what it's about. But this what I be saying, family. I be telling people I'm down with reparations. Why we hate each other so much? Because people, we have different ideologies. And I said, dude, it's one nationality, many cultures. If we say we down with reparations, if it's only one way to do these things. But everybody want their own flag. Everybody would join my flag, join my country, join my... Listen, you can't have a nation of people with a plethora of flags that you make up. Like, you can't have the Marcus Garvey flag and this and that and other, and then say, we're going to do this as a people. If you're not listening, it's one nationality, many cultures. You can fly the nation flag and have yours under it. You're not understanding what I'm saying, because you can have a nation in a nation. But for a people, we have to understand something. And that's what this is about. And the ego and the feelings must be put aside. The arbitrary explanation of things must be put aside. The things that you think you're going to get, you got to put that to the side. Because a lot of stuff is meaningless. And people caught up in spells. People caught up in dollar signs. People caught up in the fugazi. It's almost like you caught up with a gypsy. You caught up in all the fancy, like a groupie. Because you want something. I'd be like, oh, these people done lost their damn way. We don't want to be a people. We want to be something so we think we're going to get something and be able to do this or do that or magically get some money or have a whole bunch of chains. I don't know. But these are the things that I be really, really trying to talk about, man, and bring to my people. Some scholarship, some aha moments that a lot of people talk behind closed doors, that a lot of different academians speak on. A lot of things that our children definitely should know and our adults. Because if you down with something and don't understand it, just like when I talk about law and policy, how can you really say you know what you're doing or what you're representing? You're just doing things because you like a person. So when I talk about this stuff with my kids at a young age, I say, you're going to know law and policy. When you know law and policy, you hold what? Those individuals accountable. For what? For the things that if they're considering having your vote. These things that I'm saying in communities, man. So I just think we got to do more, man. Especially people that have a connection to youth, have a connection to young people. And you might can get them at a certain level, but then it's another level that it need to go to. I think we should have enough pride and enough understanding to reach those individuals and bring them in. Create our own podcast from understanding, not us fighting and pulling each other hair, and old men like they beefing, they 50, 60 years old, they beefing, they fighting, they going to prison on social media, old gangsters. That's gonna be our thing, and the rest charlatans and con artists saying you can file this and file that. All that's getting ready to be over. This social media is like a double-edged blade. It can be used for us to do things right and have a real panel of understanding, and then you see what you get. But we can rise above all that as a people, because we're not here to tell nobody who they're not, but we damn sure not here for nobody to come tell us who we are and who we're not, because clearly we have the right of a nationality. You have the right to change your nationality, and no one will be arbitrarily denied of a nationality and a right to change it. And the claim a child replaces the birth certificate. It's just like when I talk about a willing obligor. When people have midwives, when you do things and you don't read the contract, you are willing obligor. You under that jurisdiction of whatever entity that you went under for those services. And if you didn't read the contract, that's on you, because it is a contract. When you have a child and whatever going on with the child, say this, that, and the other, and they say, we got to keep your baby, we got to give them this, that, and the other. You say, I don't want my baby to have that. That ain't gonna rock and roll, because the baby was born there. You know? So when I talk about real things, and I talk about how we can overcome and how things can be done and finances can be used in a certain fashion, we just weren't educated on a lot of these things. And others, they already taken advantage of it. Because a lot of these things are used for power, with all due respect. It has to be some form of power. The Holy Spirit is a form of power. When two or more gather, that's a form of power. And so this type of power and community activity can be done when you understand this. When people can be able to be set down from an understanding to be like, man, this is factual, we definitely can do this. And when you see what's being done, because you can see different models that's doing what I'm talking about and say, oh, this is how this operates. So that's all I tell my brothers and sisters, man. I love all my Christians and my Muslims and Egyptian, whatever. Even my brother that's atheist. Because when I sit down with people that's atheists, they're not devil worshipers per se, but they don't believe in a sky god. I have understanding, and so we base our conversations on understanding, and it'd be beautiful conversations from wisdom, because I come from wisdom, and I can adapt to any situation. Who is that? I can't think of the name of it, man. I think it's probably at the end Texas.
That's okay.
Okay. But yeah, man, it's a lot that I always talk about, and I always try to give our young brothers, alley-oops to not get yourself in trouble, because there's so much going on social media. But family, man, there's only one way to do things. I knew it. My phone get to go. Okay, I'll call you back, brother. Call you back in a minute. But yeah, family, I'm not here to argue with no one. I'm here to bring information. I'm here to have real discussions. I will never get into an argument of someone's religion, because I understand your religion, that's cool. But true mission is to understand who you are as a people, your complete fifth, that make you a whole, lawfully, which you have the right to be. And then you can start talking about other things. Because if you say you're down with reparations, and I say that's a thing, but a Negro, Black, and colored African American will never, ever, ever get reparations identifying that. And all I'm saying, if anybody will argue that fact, I say it's something wrong, or they have a counter mission, or they operating covertly, because that can't even be explained. That can't even be explained. And as we're doing this still today, I think that's a real issue when we coming from that perspective. I really think that's an issue, especially if we operating lawfully, which everybody say, well, we deal with the law. We black man, we deal with the law. Well, no. Because according to science and law, black means death in this context. Civiliter mortis, which is Latin. So right off the top, you going in as a hangman. You going in as what? Property. That I just told you. And so when these concepts and when these lawful understandings is not understood, you're going in with a default. I tell everyone your religious rights trump everything, and people miss it. Whether you mean shit, I said, I'm not going to argue with you. I say your religious rights trump everything. If you don't understand that, that's okay with me. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm an adult. I can correct any mistake. And people, when I speak, people are like, damn, what did he say? I say, yes, I can correct any mistake. Oh man, it's just a mistake. I need to annex something. Hey, this person didn't know, and I'm just giving pun. And I speak so simple, but the simplicity of what I'm saying is the power, because it's that simple. You don't have to make a grandstand. Stuff is very simple. I hope you caught what I said. You know? And so that's the understanding of what I'm talking about, y'all, having these conversations and not getting caught up in the wrong thing. Because it's a long battle. You know, it's a long battle. But things can be done in the proper manifestation. And that's exactly what I said. I said your religious rights trump a lot of things what people will really say. And I can go way deeper with it, but your religious rights trump a lot of things. And a lot of us just don't know that. A lot of us haven't sat down and had a clear understanding what that consists of. You know? Because we continue to pick figures in history and say, well, I deal with Haile Selassie, or I deal with Baba, or I deal with such and such, or I deal with such and such, which I say, well, those are all laws and prophets in the flesh. Like, you give credit to that, to the understanding. But us as a people, hey, I think it's something bigger, you know? And the only thing I'm saying is, I operate like this in Arizona. When I come around my own people that look like me in the community, when I say it's an education desert, a food desert per se, I'm like, it's some work that we need to do. It's some gathering that we need to do. You know? And we can do it. We can have real panels, not no fake stuff. People talking about they can get you this fake badge and the police run all this. No, we have real discussions with real people. We break down precedented law, do things from understanding, and then you move to the next. Because is already here. All we have to do is defend what we know. And if you don't know nothing, and then once you know something, you can defend it. Why? Because you will have a clear understanding. And that's all you're going to get first. You're going to get an education on what we're talking about and the confidence and be like, oh, yep, we look right over this. I know. You look right over things that's precedented. When I show you what the 13th, the 14th, the 15th Amendment consist of, what's manumissions, you will have a clear understanding. Because if the 13th Amendment freed everyone, then what's the need for the rest of it? What was going on? What you mean when they put you in persons? When they put you in persons, a lawyer tell you it freed you, it just changed ownership. See, these is things that we should know. Once we know these things, you can operate the right way. And there's nothing to argue about because it's precedent. A nation of people, that operate with understanding, not separate, and how a lot of us operate now from a lack of understanding. Just say if you were going to academia for philosophy of, say, religion per se, and you go in there with all your personal feelings and all that, you will flunk out. Not saying you're not a good person, but we're not in here for your personal beliefs. We're in here for the philosophy of what we're talking about. So if you don't understand that perspective, that philosophy aspect or that craft of this concept that we're talking about, it don't matter. If we're talking about the origin of Islam, not what nobody religious belief feel, you can't sit up here and have an argument with someone because you want to get and start talking about this and that individual that's proven fictitious, origin, historically, with all due respect. Just like what we did with the origin of Christianity, with all due respect, from a scholarship perspective. Man, no one can be upset. No one can be upset. And that's the thing what I tell people. I say, if you're going to deal with scholarship or belief, because if we deal with scholarship, then some things is going to be pulled out that a lot of people may know, but just look over it, or maybe they haven't even known. But these is facts, and that's why I don't debate. I said, I'll never debate no one. I'll just give you the research, and I'll just lecture on a specific topic. And then if the individual is listening, and I use their books and their ancient manuscripts, I don't really think it can be nothing said. I really think it can. Why would you be upset? You can just say you were sincere, but you were sincerely wrong. If we talk about the origin, not what nobody been told or what's been recited. Because we can go way deeper with the Nabatan library and show where things come from and just break it all the way down to a small molecule and then build it back up. And we'll have to agree. You have to, based on the ancient manuscripts that I'll show. And I think a lot of people already have these manuscripts. They just don't pull them out because it's a whole, then now we talk about that subjugation thing of understanding. With all due respect. With all due respect. And I think that's the difference, that keep us separated. Just like Nation of Islam Muslims and Sunni Muslims. I say, man, it's a lot of things, to me, it is what it is. But then when I say, well, your manuscripts, just like the Nation of Islam Quran, and the author of that Quran that they use, have a plethora of different Quranic books and historical things, But also in other disciplines of Islam, when I talk about I don't do nothing outside of myself, which is in the Hadith, and I do the Al-Salat. I have no problem with nobody doing 5 and all that day. Like I said, I don't do that. But I do the ask a lot. There's nothing outside of myself. And so when I always teach this to my brothers and sisters, because I say, I'll respect everyone, your degree of things, but no one's going to be able to come tell you. No one's going to be able to tell anyone under these auspices who you're not. Because we operate on a higher level. I always tell people, we have an understanding. I always tell people this. I said, no one can be mad. I don't care if you're a Mason, an Al-Islam Muslim, a Sunni Muslim, a Christian, a Moor, an Egyptologist, an atheist, or dealing with nature and all, whatever it may be. I promise you, if we're going to deal with understanding and righteousness, we'll come out the house with understanding. Because we have to agree on principle. And I want people to stay in context. And all those things have to be done. Just like hermeneutics and hermeneutics. If we're doing something, we have to stay on topic. And if we stand with principle and understanding, we'll never agree to disagree. If we're dealing with principles, just like I talk about the 7 Kemetic principles, everybody on here, if you have any part of understanding and a tittle of wisdom in you and righteousness in your heart, you understand the 7 Kemetic principles. Most time connotated as hermetic. So if you understand the 7 Kemetic principles, then we can agree. Because we basing our understanding on what? Principle. We basing our understanding on we're born from the flesh. We know what's right and wrong. We don't need nothing outside entity to tell us this. We're born with these gifts. Remember, so I always tell people, I said, what? It's no disrespect to no one. Like, it's no disrespect to no one outside of nothing, but I really believe if we're going to base something on, I think we should come from scholarship and understanding and not trying to prove nothing to no one else. All of us, copper-colored races, which the Bible says, the dictionary says what an American is the copper-colored races. It shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be a problem for people to understand the kumbaya, stand up and arise. Because the damn show don't mean come by here. That's what we've been told. A lot of things just been told to people. I say, man, I don't have a problem with no one, but no one is going to arbitrarily explain and tell me who I am. And I know who I am and what the right I have to promulgate. So you have the right to stand up and arise. You have the right to have your culture. You have the right. And that's not nothing to be out making people upset and causing confusion. It's a resurrection. It's an understanding. It's the way we treat each other first. And then when it comes down to the things that matter, we can go to the next level. Because it'll be a group of people from understanding. It will be a resurrection. I'm telling you. Because then you will see where all the misnomer black people disappear to. I'm telling y'all, man, when we talk about forms, the SF 181 forms, when I talk about ethnicity and how we sign in things, and I know a lot of people that's never looked at that stuff with a clear eye, you'll be like, damn, man, I didn't even look at that. And I say, I know. When they tell you to fill out all pertaining to you, and when you look at things, when I say, I don't care what nobody say, I already got the right of a nationality. So when I say I'm American, I love being American. I'm a Moorish American. What's my race? I choose Asiatic. What's my status? My status is free white, by lawfully. If you don't understand that, I don't have to try to explain it to you. You just don't understand. That's not my fault. That's not nothing that I have to explain to no one. But when you have an understanding, and maybe your wisdom is just where it's at, when you have an understanding, when you look at things, you'll be like, oh, damn, because you will remove your feeling. You'll remove your feeling. And you will understand what's going on. But a lot of us are stuck in a level of feeling and not understanding. A lot of us never took the time to read and be like, wait a minute. Okay, no matter somebody asks me a question, I am on here. I'm right here. This right here. And nobody never even pay attention to it. Because we've been instructed in our brain, black. We've been miseducated. As Carter G. Woodson said. We've been miseducated, and my people are lost due to a lack of knowledge. Because we refuse to learn. We destroyed. And we afraid. Can't be afraid of nothing that's precedent. Can't be afraid of nothing that can be proven. Can't be afraid. There's no reason to be afraid. There's no reason to be afraid at all. I just made this simple and clear. That fast. And it's no issue with no one. It's no issue with no one in the world. It's no issue with academia. It's no issue with the people that's dealing with laws. Why? Because we're not out here being a nuisance. We're doing things in the right way, which is already done. Which is already done. And that's the thing I show people. I said, listen, man, things are already done. You just have to live in it. You have to be a part of things that's real. You don't have to expatiate or do none of the things that you may have taught someone telling you, because these things and those things are not right. So that's all I be telling people, man, like, do things right. Reach out to the right people that can help you. You know? And it's a beautiful thing, man, when, you know, if this counseling thing go where it goes, people are going to see the impact when men deal with our young men. You know? Instead of just throwing them in the system, you know, giving them medicine and, you know, not taking the opportunity to seek out, not taking the opportunity to be a part of the community and build infrastructure. Because there's a lot of kids like this in the world, with all due respect. I seen them when I went to the elementary school. Just imagine if you had allies like that in these areas where these kids don't have fathers. And they can get that extra oomph. They can get that big brother. They can get that extra skill trade. Working out, learning different things, learning their culture, to go with everything they doing, to have a full background. That's what this should be all about. It shouldn't be about nothing else. But that's all I wanted to share with y'all, man. Like I said, I'll be going later to Cleary. I'm glad it stopped snowing. But I thank y'all, man. I'll come back, probably share something with y'all when I get back later. But I love y'all, man. Thank y'all for your time. Peace, love, light, and all that good stuff.